boys, all type of boys. Black, white, Puerto Rican, Chinese boys. Wine, thang, thang, ya, thang, thang, ya, thang. Wine, thang, thang, ya, thang, thang, ya, thang.
Are you willing to sacrifice your life?
This is row 1, seat 1.
Well, this is nice. When did we start doing this? Nobody told me about this. I thought everything sucked now. Do you have a card?
You shake my bones and you rat on my balls.
I'm going to, okay? Jada, I love you. Can't wait to see it. All right?
Luck is for dudes.
I'm like, Joey can't get to his damn computer and phone fast enough to just smash everything he can possibly say.
That means every fucking thing to me.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Yes, Broncos country. Let's ride. Even though we're not riding as fast and as far as we wanted to, we're still going to be riding eventually long and hard into January. Fear not, my fellow Broncos fans. It is okay. Things will be okay, even though we suffered a just grotesque defeat at the hands of Natty fucking Ice and Paul's bitch-ass Colts.
I wouldn't even say it was at the hands of Matty Ice, dude. It was just at the hands of the defense.
It was
man.
at the hands of Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
Russell
yeah.
Wilson defeated us.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. We'll get into the Broncos tonight. We got a lot planned here. Welcome everybody to another
You guys
show.
got another primetime game.
Yeah, Monday night, baby. We got a lot going on tonight. Thank you all for joining us on another just absolutely just fucking bombshell bullshit filled fucking row 1, seat 1 right here live on the one, the only, the New Bedford guy, Joey Fats Radio, coming at you live right here every Tuesday night, except next Tuesday because I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
So no show next Tuesday. But we'll be back, the following Tuesday, and all Tuesdays there go from there henceforward until we're both on vacation in December. Chutch.
Yeah.
But yes, we got a lot to get into tonight, Paul. We got a lot to get into.
Yeah.
I mean, a shitload. An absolute fuck ton. 774-992-8702 is the phone number if you want to give us a call and get your thoughts out there and tell us what you thought about the weekend that was in the NFL, the weekend that is upcoming. We had two of maybe the worst calls of all time, and that's saying a lot considering we've seen the pass interference that wasn't in New Orleans, the tuck rule. We've seen... Just name another shitty call that you can.
The roughing the passer on Tom Brady against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yep, there's that one. Yes, which is going to be quite the theme here tonight.
Yeah. Also, the other bad call on Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I don't throw the flags. Yeah, well, guess what?
I don't throw the flags. I just throw the tablets.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll get into. It's going to be a lot of Raiders, a lot of Chiefs, a lot of Bucks. We'll do a little bit of Patriots. We're going to do some Broncos and Colts. How about those Jets, too?
Yeah, the Eagles again.
The MILF Hunter is on the prowl. The Eagles. The Giants are 4-1.
The fuck, dude?
The Packers slip up. The Giants win. Shame on me for not betting on the Giants. We'll get into that in a little bit. For not taking them in my Pick'em League this week, which I did pretty well. Had 11 wins. Paul, I think you led the league.
13 this week,
with
dude.
13.
13 points put me in first place.
Yeah, you're up there.
By one. I got it by one.
Well, congratulations there,
yeah,
little buddy.
that's
Congratulations.
The first, cool little thing that I've ever done.
Yeah, well,
in
no,
any kind
it's
of
not just the
football.
only cool little thing. It's a cool thing. You know, you're doing it. You're doing it, bro.
Hey, I'm up in first, bro. I'm not fucking around this year. I've been taking my picks seriously. I started from week 1 last year. I think I came in at like week 6 because I was like, oh yeah, we have a fucking pick'em league, and I didn't realize how easy it was to switch between my fantasy, my pick'em, and my
Yeah.
what do you call it?
Didn't see that one, did you?
What?
How easy it is.
Oh yeah, no, and what's the other league that we do? The suicide league there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know how easy it was to switch between them, so I all of a sudden figured it out this year, and now I've just been like,
On a tear.
on a tear since week 1, dude. I just been
And look at
hot.
you. You're in first place through
And-
5 weeks.
And in the
amazing.
suicide league, I'm in first too.
Well, I mean,
No, I'm in first. I got no strikes. Everybody else has one.
oh, really? You're the only.
I'm the only one left with no strike.
Look at you, huh?
Yeah, I'm kicking ass, dude. Watch, I'll fuck up this week.
Oh, I mean, probably.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Everybody fucks up at least once, but except me. I never fuck up. I
Yeah.
never get anything wrong. I never fuck anything up.
You've
So
gotten mad wrong, you asshole.
shut up, dude. No, I haven't, bro. If I get something wrong, that just means
You got the
somebody else
Giants
fucked
wrong.
up. But that was my own fault because I didn't listen to my own intuition. See, I wasn't, it's like I'm never wrong. I mean, I have been wrong. It's happened once before. Turned out I was right. I should have taken the Giants,
Yeah.
But we'll get into that in a minute. But 774-992-8702. Give us a call. We got a lot to talk about. We got a little bit of Formula One, a little bit of NASCAR. We got a little bit of everything. Baseball is in the throes of the playoffs.
I know.
The Astros
Big
just
game tonight.
just a little over an hour ago with a biblical walk-off by
Climbing
Air
back,
Jordan.
dude. Coming back, like
just dude, it's why the Astros are the team to beat in the AL. I know the Yankees have the
Yeah.
better record, and I know the Yankees are good, but Yankees, Astros, ALCS, I got the Astros all day.
if there was ever a reason why rally caps exist, tonight was
It was that night.
tonight was the night.
And let's just start right there because this is why we always sit here and preach how awesome baseball is.
Right.
Because of that game right there. Because of
Right.
that game that started at 3:30 this afternoon in Houston with Houston and the Seattle Mariners in a 5-game series. Now, anybody who knows anything about baseball or playoff sports in general, where series are a thing, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever, hockey, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
A 5-game set does not always guarantee the better team is going to win, and that's kind of the beauty of the 5-game set. It gives the underdog a more of a puncher's chance or a better chance in general. And the last thing you want to do in a 5-game series, whether you're the favorite or not, is trail 0-1. You just don't want to get down 0-1. You never want to trail a series, period.
Yeah.
But the shorter the series, the less you want to trail because the less margin for error there is.
Right. You don't got much time to climb back.
The Mariners had the Yankees. They had the Astros on the ropes. They were up 7-3. They give up 2 in the 8th to make it 7-5. And the Astros down to their last strike with 1 on and 2 outs. They get a bloop hit into center field. And then here comes Alvarez. Jordan Alvarez comes up and on the second pitch launches a 438-foot bomb into the right field
Straight
deck
nuke.
and just nukes it. A no-doubter, a Pujols-ian blast, if you
Yes,
will,
yes.
in the playoffs. And it was just, and the stadium erupts, and you just see the emotion, the bat flip, the dejection on the Mariners, the just pure elation from the Astros, the sound of the crowd. This is why you love sports. This is what you watch for. And what people don't understand about baseball, and I'm not going to sit here waxing poetic about baseball all night because I just want to touch on this one thing because it just happened literally an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Right, which was sick.
The best thing about baseball is baseball has like the ability to have a slow burn. There's a lot of buildup in a baseball game. Oh, it's 7-3. Oh, it's 7-5. Oh, we got the closer in. Oh, they got a man on. Okay, no big deal. We got 2 outs. Oh, they got another man on.
Right.
Okay, here comes the big man. Can he do it? 2 pitches later, game over.
Right.
You were just up 4 runs 2 innings ago.
Yep.
And you had him dead to rights, and it didn't work out for you.
And that quick of a score change, or that drastic and that quick of a score change in baseball is like insane.
But I feel like it
Like,
happens.
that's
I feel like it
ridiculous.
happens in the postseason every year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of it, and that's what we love about baseball.
Right.
And that's why I always tell people that baseball does such a piss poor job marketing their players. Nobody knows who Jordan Alvarez is.
No.
The only reason why they know who they hear the Houston Astros, and the first thing they think is cheaters. And it's like, yes, they did cheat.
Oh, they got that short guy, right?
Yeah, and they got that little midget, right? Please, Altuve, whatever, and that's it. That's all they know. They hear Astros, they think cheaters. They don't think Alvarez. They don't think Tucker. They don't think Altuve. They don't think Bregman. They don't think about Verlander. They don't think about any of these guys. And that's the best part about it too. The Astros went out and won after Verlander got kind of lit the fuck up.
Right.
So this is a big win for the Astros, and it just makes sense. Baseball is so much fucking fun.
Right.
It's so awesome, and people just don't appreciate it. And MLB, I feel like it starts with them.
Right, and like you said, it's a slow burn. Like, you got to get invested in the game early. You know what I'm saying? Like, with that whole, like, it's the buildup. It's the innings of, like, back and forth, okay, nothing going on, until you realize that you're in that, oh, shit, this is like the make or break game moment. This is why we've been watching for the last 3 or 4 hours. It's
right.
like these last couple pitches. We might not have fucking realized it, but all of a sudden you look and here you are, and it's like, oh, shit, this is huge. This is massive. And this could be a regular season game. This could be like, game 86 or whatever. It doesn't matter. The way that baseball runs, like you said, it's like a slow burn. You have to get invested early, and you have to understand what's going on in the game to really appreciate when the big situations come up and shit happens. Like tonight. It was fucking sick. I'm pissed I missed it. I didn't get to. I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched the last couple
We
clips,
watched it about an hour ago.
But I was like, damn, I didn't fucking know this was even going on. I was out running around doing shit all day, so I didn't realize
that's the thing. Nobody really knows that game was on at 3:30 on a fucking Tuesday afternoon. I love afternoon baseball. Like I was almost like borderline bummed the other day when they had the wild card games and it was like a 12:27 first pitch, and I'm like, aw. Like, I want to go to a bar and day drink and watch playoff baseball.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But I had to work, and I'm like, fuck.
Right.
I'm like, that kind of kicks me in the balls. Like, I really wanted to watch this.
Yep.
And then you get the Mets go down, which, sad
That
trumpet
sucks.
sounds. Sad trumpet sounds.
I was pissed. Yeah, I was a little upset about that. Both teams I wanted to go past. The Cardinals, I wanted Pujols, and I wanted Diaz to make it past.
Same. I would have loved Mets Cardinals like an 06 rematch in the NLCS.
So sick. Yep.
When Endy Chavez went and fucking robbed that home run that one time, it was fucking sick. But yeah, no, I implore you, if you're not doing anything, throw on playoff baseball, especially if it's late in the game.
It's a lot of fun.
Even though it was 7-3 in the 7th inning, that game was not over.
It's crazy.
And it's never over in October until it's over.
Right.
How many times we have to see Ortiz and his heroics? And the thing is like that happens every year.
Right.
That tonight was game 1 of the ALDS, and the Astros walk it off in spectacular fashion.
Right.
It was
That's
fucking
bound
sick.
to happen at least like
Another
5 more times.
half a dozen more times.
Throughout all the series, throughout playoff baseball as a whole. You know what I mean? You're going to get games.
And as the series drag on, the spots get bigger, the stakes get higher, the pressure mounts.
The spotlight's a little more.
The spotlight gets brighter, the temperature gets turned up, whatever sports cliche you want to throw at it, it happens. And baseball is just one of those games, one of those sports where you love to watch it unfold as it happens, because you know that there's always the possibility of something crazy happening.
Yeah,
a guy gets, a broken bat, should be a double play to the shortstop, but it rolls too slow and everybody's safe. And you're like, oh, my God.
Now it's loaded.
Holy fuck.
Shit happens like
now
that, man.
Now you got 2 on and you're only up 3. You're like, oh, my. The tying run is at the plate.
Who's coming to bat?
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then you're like, oh, no, here comes Aaron Judge. Fuck. 774-992-8702. Let's talk some football, Paul. We got a lot of football to get into tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, just a ton.
Kick off
Do you want to start? Do you want to start with last night's game, or should we? Let's start with Sunday. Let's start with the worst call that ever was, until it wasn't last night, with this Tom Brady roughing the passer calls. Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle for the Falcons.
Yup.
3rd down and 6, sacks Brady, knocks him out of field goal range. The Falcons are going to get the ball back in a 6-point game. And you're thinking and I had almost thought about switching my pick from Tampa to the Falcons.
Yeah.
There was just something it told me. I talked to one of my buddies at work, and he's a diehard Falcons fan. And he was like, I'm telling you, man, take the Falcons tomorrow. I don't know. I'm telling you,
They were close.
do it. And I said, I I can be sold on that because I think it's going to be closer than people think. I didn't think it was going to be a blowout by any stretch, but I'm like, fuck. I'm like, yeah, okay. I could get behind rooting for the fucking Falcons tomorrow afternoon against Tampa. Fuck yeah, that would be fun. That'd make my Sunday more fun than it would be if I was, I'd rather root for the Falcons to beat the Bucs, knowing I have about a 5% chance of getting that pick right, than sit there and be like, ho hum, like, yeah, okay, the Bucs are gonna win. Cool, I got it right.
Right, yeah, I hear
Boring.
you. You gotta put something on it.
It's why I only draft fantasy football players that I like to root for now. Like, I don't give a shit about winning. I've won my league. I don't know what. I think I'm tied for the most championships in the league. And, if I win another one, great. If not, I don't really give a fuck. It doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Yep.
Now I just root for guys that I pick guys that I want to root for on Sundays because those are the games I want to watch.
Right.
So it's like if I want to watch Bitch Fixin' Joe Mixon and the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to draft Bitch Fixin' Joe Mixon. Right. If I want my chocolate stud pony, I'm going to go get my chocolate stud pony. Right. If I offered – I tried to trade Derek Carr for Russ straight up after week 1.
Yeah.
And, even sprinkle in, I think I threw in, I don't know, Travis Etienne or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And the guy I traded to in the league, Ryan, didn't want. He was like, no, I like Russ's upside. I think he has a chance to kind of blow up. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of why I'm trading. But I'm like, I'll still give you Derek Carr, who's probably going to have a pretty successful season.
Anyway, yeah.
And he's having a better season statistically than Russ right now. Granted, the Raiders are 1-4. LOL.
Yep.
Just exactly where I thought they would be right now.
I didn't think they'd be 1-4.
Actually, you know what? They're not exactly where I thought they would be. I thought they would be. No, I did think they would be 1-4 because I thought they would have beat somebody else and lost to us. But whatever, flip flop those games. Who cares? Doesn't matter. But no, I did not think the Raiders were going to be good. They're not good. They've got good players, but like I said, they're not going to win games because Josh McDaniels is a boob. And we'll get into that game in a second. But Paul, back to this Grady Jarrett sack on Tom Brady. Now, I'm sure everybody's seen it by now. We'll show it to you here real quick because it's a short enough clip. We shouldn't lose the feed because we're showing shit. But
Brady's coming all the way from here. Watch him come all the way around. Now he's going to be down onto the hips of Tom Brady while he's in pursuit, so he's spinning around too. There's no intent to hurt the quarterback right there. You can see Tom's reaction.
You cannot possibly convince me.
There's been a couple of calls here in this situation for Atlanta to hold on.
That this is roughing the passer. You got two guys running in the same direction. The defensive tackle grabs the quarterback around the waist and corrals him to the ground. He doesn't whip him to the ground. He doesn't smash his head off the ground. He doesn't do anything of that sort. He just takes him to the ground, which is what the whole game is based upon. Yep. Taking the ball carrier to the ground. And they throw the flag. And, of course, the flag comes out, and we're all sitting there going, all right, well, it must have been, holding on the offense, illegal formation. There maybe was there defensive holding. You were, looking around. We're like, what the fuck is this flag? It's in the backfield. We're like, that's a pretty – the last thing that we were thinking was – roughing the pass. I mean, we're sitting there watching it live on Red Zone.
When he threw him, when he rolled and kind of kept rolling to him in the ground, I was like, no, here we go, dude. It's so predictable nowadays, dude.
But then you see Tua a week and a half ago get his fucking noggin smashed off the ground by a defensive tackle in a much more violent whip to the ground than that, and there's no flag. And his, hands start seizing up, and he starts doing whatever he's doing, and he's looking like he's about to die on the field. And you're like, oh, my God, this is terrible. No flag. So there's two things that lead me to believe, or there's two theories I have about this particular play. One, this is a just grotesque overreaction, knee-jerk reaction by the NFL to make sure that what happened to Tua doesn't happen anymore and that they start throwing flags on all these plays. No, we have to protect the quarterbacks. No, we have to make sure nobody gets hurt. No, what happened to Tua was terrible. It was a bad look for us. Bruh, you can't legislate the violence out of this game.
Right.
It's why, first of all, it's why we love it. We love football because it's barbaric. It's violent. It's imposing your will as a man on another man for 60 minutes. It is as primal as it gets. That's what we love about it. Whether you can sit here and wax poetic all you want about, oh no, I love the passing game and the running game and it's an art form. And blah, blah, blah. No, at the very basis of it, We, as men, alpha males who play this game, we want to be the guy who is, we want to beat you so badly that your mom is coming out of the stands with her shoe off, like trying to get off my baby. Like, that's how bad, that's what we want to do. That is, how would liberal Twitter put it? Toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what football is.
Yep.
And that's what we love about it. And that's why we play. And that's why we lift all these weights. And that's why we hit each other and make sure we practice hitting each other. Right. So that when
weed out the weak.
So that when we get to the games, we can hit you better than you can hit us. That's all it is. It's just break it down to its most primal form. And that's why we love it. You're never going to make the game safe. It's just not going to happen. You know, like NASCAR has been chasing that dragon for years and years and years.
Yeah, yeah.
And in an attempt to make the cars safer this year, if you follow NASCAR, you know exactly what I'm talking about. NASCAR is under fire right now because the cars are not safer. The drivers are getting hurt. You got guys getting concussions left and right because these new designs, these new cars, they don't crush and cave in the way the old ones do. So the impacts are a lot stiffer and they're a lot harder.
Yep, your brain's bouncing off the inside of your skull
and
a lot.
NASCAR, as much as they're trying to get that out of the sport, look, at some point, like, there's going to be a point of diminishing returns. You just got to kind of let it be what it is, right?
Right.
Same thing with football. You just got to let it be what it is. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, because right now that's what the NFL is doing. They're letting perfect become the enemy of good in their attempt to be perfect. They are ruining the sport. Yeah. And I'm not the only one saying this. Now, I've been preaching this for, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years now?
Yeah.
That Goodell is ruining the sport, that all these new rules, going back to Sunday, Bloody Sunday, and what was it, like 2013 or 14, whatever it was, when, you know, there was just all those hits. James Harrison killed somebody. What's his name from the Falcons got killed. There was just like a bunch of people, like just massive hits across the league.
Was that Shazier too? Ryan Shazier, was that?
No, that was after. Shazier was like that was just like a routine tackle.
Same with that kid Everett from Buffalo too, back, remember, against
the Broncos. That was on a kickoff though.
Yeah.
That was 07.
Yep. Spinal injuries.
Yeah, was it Gerald Everett? I think it was
something Everett.
I think it was Gerald Everett.
Yep.
Tight end. And I remember, I'll never forget it. He went down and everybody was like, "Oh shit!" That was we won that game on the Chinese fire drill, field goal at the end.
Oh no shit. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was opening day, 2007.
Yep.
And I remember it very vividly. But the NFL is trying to legislate the violence out of the games, and they're trying everything they can to protect the quarterbacks, and it's backfiring on them. Now, like I said, I've been preaching this now for a decade. I've been telling you this is what was coming. I'm finally starting to hear the voices on my side of the aisle behind me get a lot louder.
Yeah.
After yesterday and Sunday, people are finally starting to be like, okay, this is getting ridiculous.
I know. Before they add like a new offensive line position. Hey, we're changing the game completely, and there's now one more O-lineman than there was before. You know what I mean? Like something fucking absolutely ridiculous like that to help protect these guys and keep these guys safe. I get it. You don't want anybody getting hurt and shit like that, but guess what, man? It's the fucking game that it is, and it's why you get paid so fucking handsomely.
Exactly.
You're putting your body on the line. You're getting paid for it.
Oh, that's what we didn't. We got to talk about too. The NBA handing out the cards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, I get it. Like, people go out there and risk their lives for a lot less money on a day-to-day basis than any other job.
Yes.
So I don't really want to hear the fact, like, oh,
I know, and I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to sit here and be one of those guys like, well, why don't cops and firemen and nurses and school teachers get paid like LeBron James?
Because 70,000 people don't pay hundreds of dollars to come watch you do your job.
Also, because not for nothing, but there's like 3 million cops, 4 million cops in this country.
Right.
There's 1,400 guys that can play in the NFL that are capable. Like, it's pretty hyper competitive. Right. Not for nothing, but like, nobody wants to be a cop anymore. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Even the Mass State Troopers are having trouble hiring people, which is, used to be like a prestigious thing.
Right.
And now they're like, please come work for us.
Yeah.
Like, please.
They don't sell like BDU tops online that you can buy.
Yeah.
To,
So it's just, I'm not going to be that guy, but yeah, you're right. Like, look, there is an inherent danger that comes with playing this game. Michael Irvin said it years ago. He said, I was afforded the opportunity to play this game and change the entire trajectory of my lineage. I took my family from poverty and living in the hood to never having to deal with any of that again.
Right. Your grandkids.
And he goes, and if that took 15 years off my life, and you told me that the day I signed my first NFL contract, I would do it again.
Yeah.
And again, and again, and again. And anybody who says they wouldn't is either a liar or they're stupid.
Right.
Because again, it's not like you don't have guys who played in the game, who played, and they're still out there kicking at 80, 90 years old. Like it happens. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like when you play football, you're guaranteed to die by 55. You're not COs.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
You're not. It's just one of those things. Like there's no guarantee. Like, are there issues? Yes, of course. And it becomes more high profile because of the multi-billions of dollars that get thrown around in this league. When a Javon Belcher goes and offs himself in the parking lot of the Kansas City Chiefs, that's a pretty gut-wrenching thing. But of course, what the problem is, the first thing they'll blame is, well, did he have CTE?
Of course.
And you're like, well, what does that matter? Well, did that drive him to do it? I don't fucking know. Like, does it matter? I mean, he's dead. Like, okay, let's let his body get
cool
put
off,
under the dirt before we start worrying about
before we start politicizing shit.
And pushing the narrative. But that's what we do in today's hyper attentive society where instant gratification is everything and everything is immediately politicized. And we'll talk about that because we'll get into the Troy Aikman thing too, where the woke left. No, I'm good. I'm good for right now. I got a halfie still.
I'll wait, dog.
Yeah. But let's get into this. Get back to this Brady thing. And my thing with this is when I saw this play first happen, my immediate reaction, it was like it triggered some form of PTSD in my brain of the last 20 years of anytime something remotely questionable happened to Brady or the Patriots, you know it. And any Patriots fan who's watching Brady get sacked and saw him get that call, I don't want to hear your faux outrage over the call, okay? Because Brady and Belichick and the Patriots have gotten that call 1,000 times over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And y'all sat there and defended it. Well, by the letter of the law and the rule says and blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. First of all, Patriots fans don't deserve any happiness. They deserve nothing but misery for the next, at least I'd say, 2 decades.
Yeah,
I think fair is fair. Eye for an eye.
Usually if the devil's in there, you got to double that. So that's on
40 years. I will take 40 years of pedestrian Patriot teams for. I'd love that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that would be great.
Yeah.
Granted, I won't be a football fan long enough to really see that out.
Yeah,
right. Who knows? We're assuming football will be around in 40 years.
Yeah, we'll be around in 40 years.
We'll be around. I mean, I should still be around. I'll be 77 at that point.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping, but we'll see.
I think I can hit 77. That's pretty young.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah. I mean, modern medicine's pretty crazy. I mean, but I don't want to hear it from Patriots fans because fuck all of y'all, man. Y'all been getting those calls forever. Anytime there was any questionable 50-50 call on the field, it always went in favor of the Patriots. It never failed. I used to have it documented at one point. I think I still have the file on my computer, dates and times bullshit. Call here against this team at this time, this play, down distance, the whole night. I used to have a whole spreadsheet made up for it, and then I just realized it just doesn't fucking matter because it is the way it is. And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, for whatever reason, they were just they were protected. And we saw it again Sunday. I mean, Grady Jarrett made a killer play. You saw him. He comes all the way around on a giant twist, stunt, and gets to Brady, puts him on the ground. I mean, basically, the only thing he didn't do was put the pillow down for him.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he gets the flag, and it kills the game. I mean, and I'm not saying the Falcons were going to win that game. I mean, it's still Marcus Mariota. They're still probably going to have the ball down inside their own 20-yard line and have to go the distance of the field. But you never gave them the chance. The opportunity was taken away from them, and that's what's fucking irritating because it was a 6-point game. It's not like it was it was 28-14 and that call happens and you're like, well, they could have scored a touchdown and gotten the onside kick. No, that was a winnable game. Two blown coverages in that secondary or one blown coverage, and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, they're within striking distance.
Yeah.
You know, Marcus Mariota takes off running for 35 yards. You're like, okay.
Which he might be able to do. He's still a little mobile.
Yeah, I mean, the
run.
Falcons their record's a lot better than I think people thought it was going to be at this point. I mean, I think they're up to what, 2 wins, right? I think Rob said last week they've already doubled their win total for the year. Yeah, they're 2-3. I mean, if you told me by week 5 that the Broncos and the Falcons would have the same record, I would be like, holy shit, the Falcons are undefeated?
Yeah.
Or they're 4-1? How the hell is that going to work?
Right. I would never have thought
I was
that
not
either.
guessing 2-3.
No, fuck no.
I was not guessing 2-3.
No.
But nonetheless, it was an absolute shit call. It was arguably the worst call. And it's Jerome Boger, of course, always. If you ever want to, like, just follow the trail of shit calls, like, just find Jerome Boger, whatever game he's officiating, and you can pretty much guarantee you'll find some shit fucking call in that game at some point. Like, egregiously bad.
Right.
And I think the outcry from a lot of people, especially on Twitter after that game on Sunday, was why are these officials not being held responsible? You know, players get fined, players get suspended, you know, coaches, the whole thing, there's all this scrutiny on all these different people, and yet the officials, when they fuck up royally, just seem to skate.
They're like the weathermen.
Right? Like
they fuck up royally and they just
right. Nobody
skate.
sits there and be like,
it's the insurance company's got to fucking pay for all they know.
Seriously though, it's wild because we have I've never seen a group of people, and I mean this goes kind of across all sports: baseball, basketball, football. I don't really know about hockey. I don't really know, like, are there bad calls in hockey? I'm sure there are.
I think so.
But like, I don't know what they are because
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know what they.
I watch enough like playoff hockey.
They're like, oh, he's got too much maple syrup on his gloves.
Well,
I don't know why he's British, but
there are some plays in hockey that I watch, and it's just like, oh, you know, high sticking or something like that. And I'm like, oh, is that what that is? Yeah, that's what high. Oh, okay, wouldn't know. Like, I just go along with. I believe that they made the right call.
Yeah, I
don't know really shit about hockey like that much. I love playoff hockey. I will watch playoff hockey like all fucking day. Regular season, probably not so much unless I'm at a bar and it's like a big game and it's like maybe if the Bruins lose.
Yeah, I mean, if it's on, I'll watch it. It's not something I'm like, but it's not something I'm like,
more of a
oh,
playoff
damn.
Hockey, yeah.
3:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, gotta put this on.
Nah, I'm all set.
No, I mean, it's not
if
like
it's the playoffs, maybe.
No, not even.
If it's the playoffs and I'm going to a bar and it's like, oh, playoffs are on, cool, let's watch.
I mean, if I'm around and I'm not doing anything,
it's got to kind of be in front of my face.
Yeah, pretty much. And but like I said, I don't know. I don't even know. Like, but you know, in the major 3 sports, baseball, basketball, football, a lot of times, I mean, we all know who, you know, Angel, was it Angel Diaz? No, Angel Enriquez. What the fuck's his name? Oh my God, it's slipping my mind. Holy crap. The referee in MLB.
Oh, I have no idea. Was he an asshole?
Yeah, he's the worst. MLB.
Yeah, he's the worst. Well, you got to explain.
Angel Hernandez. There it is. Jesus Christ, Henriquez. Angel Hernandez. We all know who he is. We all know who Joyce is because, you know, he's the one that blew that fucking call for the perfect game in Chicago that time. Called the guy safe, and everybody's like, are you fucking kidding me, bro? Like, even if it was a bang-bang play, like, you just call the man out and be done with it.
Right.
Like, fuck off. But we've all seen that. We all know who Joe West is. We all know who Joey Crawford is. Yeah. We all know who Jerome Boger is. We all know who fucking
Tim Donaghy is.
Yeah, we all know who Tim Donaghy is now. Yeah. You know, we all know who fucking Hercules was, fucking Ed Hockley. You know what I mean? Like, you know the officials and like whether they're good or bad.
Gene Steratore.
Gene Steratore was actually one of the better ones. I liked Steratore. Yeah. Yeah, he's a
but I'm saying you knew who he was.
Okay, all right, listen, babe. All right, here's what we got. Okay, we're going to go incomplete. Call stands as it called in the field. Hey, you like that? Yeah, you want some bolognese after the game? Come on by. You know, I liked Steratore. He was fucking funny.
Now they talk to him in New York.
Yeah, but I liked him when he was an official because, you know, he was not bad. Right. But you get Jerome Boger or like, I don't know, like Clete Blakeman rubs me the wrong way. And that fucking, remember that dude, he retired now, you said the glasses. Oh, God, dude, I remember these guys like it was yesterday because he'd be like, oh, God damn it, this fucking asshole's
this guy's
reffing this game. Fuck. But no, it was, or you know, Bill Vinovich, fucking phantom holding call on the Broncos in 2012 cost us the game against the fucking Ravens. would have never got to that. There would have been no jump ball Joe. There would have been no fucking Jacoby Jones. If Bill Vinovich had just kept his goddamn fucking flag in his pocket instead of just pretending to call a holder because he's like, that's Ray Lewis's last round. Throw this flag. Fucking asshole. But you know these guys' names. You know who they are. You can all pretty much go back and probably figure out a time where they fucked your team once, twice, sometimes more. And you know who you know it, and you know they're fucked. Jerome Boger's that dude, and he makes this call on Grady Jarrett when he sacks Brady. And you're like, everybody in the world, literally Twitter erupted. And everybody is like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
And Monday morning, that was the worst call ever. It was up there with the Tuck rule. It was so bad. It was so egregious. It was so terrible. And you're like, how in the fuck are we making this call? You have ex-players coming out. Bernard Pollard, T.J. Ward, Micah Parsons, current players even. Micah Parsons, I believe I saw T.J. Watt in there saying, like, what do you want us to do?
Right.
Like, he's a 310-pound defensive tackle. Would you want him to defy physics and just, like, place the man on the ground?
Roll him in.
Like, we haven't seen Tom Brady throw, complete passes off his ass. You know what I mean? In the past, like, literally sitting on his ass and, like, throws a ball. And you're like, oh, it's complete. First down, game over. And you're like,
how?
But why didn't I throw him on the ground? Like, remember Matthias Kiwanuka on Vince Young? In 2006, and Tom Coughlin was like screaming at him because he's like hands on his knees, head down, and Tom Coughlin like got underneath him, was like, "Are you fucking kidding me, you fucking bitch?" Like, you remember that? It was fucking hilarious. But you go back to, like, that's the thing. Like, you got to get these guys to the ground. These are professional athletes,
right.
And Brady's not a small dude. Brady's 6'4", 210, 220 pounds. Like, he's not like a little guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not like. He's bigger. He's taller than me.
Yeah.
Would I, like, one-hand his ass to the ground? Yeah, of course I would. I'm a fucking beast. But that's
also
not the
100
point.
pounds more than him.
Yeah, but, like, Grady Jarrett did what he was supposed to do, and he did it in the gentlest manner possible, and he still got fucked for it.
I know. I saw it, and I was like, oh, boy. I'm like, here it comes. Like, I knew it was – I'm like, that is, like, one of the cleanest sacks you could possibly get. In any, like, whatever situation you want to put, it was one of the cleanest sacks, and he still got fucked. And I'm sitting there, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, he's fucked. I know it. And then I saw the flags, and I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I'm like, I was hoping to, like, reverse psychology myself and being like, oh, he's fucked.
Right.
And just hope to never see the flag, being like, maybe there's a little bit of, light left in this fucking league without throwing some bullshit. No, there it is. And you're like, God fucking damn it,
And, of course,
dude.
it's who was the beneficiary of that?
Brady.
Tom Brady. Again.
Always.
If you go back, all this shit started with Tom Brady.
Always.
It started in 2007 when the Bernard Pollard fan club was born. 2008, rather, on September 7th, 2008. At approximately 1:44 in the afternoon. Who's counting? When the Bernard Pollard fan club was started by yours truly. And Bernard Pollard, the great one, ended Tom Brady's season. And it all of a sudden became like oh my God, Tom Brady got hurt. We need to change all the rules. We need to change the whole thing. This game isn't safe. And it's like, all right, cool. But, like, what about Carson Palmer 3 years ago?
Right.
Why didn't you give a shit when Kimo von Oelhoffen rolled up on Carson Palmer's, leg the first series of the game?
Right.
And Cincinnati in that wild card game in 2005, and he was done, and John Kitna had to come in and finish the game. Did you care then? No. Did you change any rules then? No. So it really only matters when it happens. Just like with horse collar tackles. If it hadn't been T.O. that had gotten his leg broken, if that had been like James Thrash or Todd Pinkston that got their ankle broken by Roy Williams on that tackle, no rules would be changed.
Never would have heard of it.
Nothing would have happened. And it's pathetic. It's sad. And the part that pisses me off the most is they're so transparent about it. Like, they think they're like being like, oh, well, we're going to do this in the name of player safety. It's like, no, you're only doing this because a big name guy got hurt.
Right.
And your TV ratings might take a hit because of it.
Because this is
because your bottom line might not be as fat as it could be.
Right.
if T.O. and Tom Brady were playing for that year, or that season.
It's going
didn't get
through
hurt.
a few more households given the name it happened to rather than
exactly. Like I said, those kind of injuries happen all the time.
Right.
But oh my God, it happened to T.O. And the 4 p.m. Fox main national broadcast. In a season where he was having an MVP type season with McNabb, and it's like, oh no, we must change all the rules, and you're like, man, fuck off with that
Tom
shit.
Tupa got smashed and broke his fucking leg. No one gives a fuck. You know what I mean? They replaced Tom Tupa.
Doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like I said, if that was James Thrash or Todd Pinkston, no one fucking cares.
Right.
Just like no one cared when it happened to Carson Palmer, but it happens to Brady, and oh my God, the world's ending. 774-992-8702. Do you want to go Sprucies?
Yeah, I'll go Spruce.
I'll carry this for a minute by my lonesome. We got more coming up. Just vodka and grapefruit soda. The huge. Let's see. What do we got coming up? Okay, so we've got coming up. We've got some fun stuff. If you're a Raiders or a Chiefs fan, you can either choose to tune in or out now, depending on which side you were on last night. We got video from we got 2 Davante Adams videos. We have, obviously, we're going to talk about the worst call because the Brady call is now the second worst call. Then we'll get into the worst call. We'll get into the Chiefs and the Raiders. We'll get into the Broncos, the Colts, just a touch. As the show goes on, we'll get into what's coming up this week, which looks like it's actually going to be a pretty decent week. I'm not obviously thrilled. I'm never thrilled about Thursday Night Football. But Washington at Chicago, barf. Like, just barf. Like, watch, it'll probably be the highest scoring game of the fucking week too, because it's just 2 trash teams. We'll get into that. We'll get into a little bit more of the NFL as the show rolls on. Troy Aikman is now getting he has angered leftist Twitter. There's many a leftist white woman that is very angry at Troy Aikman, and we got the video to show you why. And we'll get into that as well. We've got, what else we got? We have, let's see. I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, we got the Derek Carr stuff. We got that. We got this. We've got, this was always funny, too. I just like
one more. Yeah, another one.
AB acting a fool. AB is apparently sued by some guy that he sold a watch to. I don't know what type of watch it was, but it was some sort of like designer watch or whatever. It was supposedly worth $400,000. He sold it to this guy secondhand for $160,000 down in Miami. And apparently it's a fake. So he sold a counterfeit watch for $160,000. So that guy's suing for damages, which I don't feel bad for him at all. Like, at all. Like, how? First of all, why would you trust AB and take him at his word? Second of all, if you got $160,000 to drop on a watch, probably means you're probably fine. I mean, it's probably not that big of a deal. But Brady and Giselle are getting divorced. We all know that. That is looking like it's going to be more and more just it's going to get ugly. I think that's going to get gross ugly because I think there's going to be some things that are coming out. Hearing rumors that Brady may have already been sniffing around in places he shouldn't have been sniffing, if you know what I mean. He might have been, wetting his whistle in other places, dipping his pen in some ink that wasn't his wife's. Wouldn't it be fascinating, though, if it turned out that AB banged Giselle, like, while they were married still? That'd just be hilarious. I want this to turn into a total soap opera and just devolve into complete, like, Jerry Springer madness. I think it would be fucking hysterical if that ended up being the case, but we'll see. We'll see. 774-992-8702. We're about to get into some Chiefs and Raiders, some Monday Night Football, a little bit of AFC West talk. We've got a bunch of shit to talk about with this game. So stay tuned for that. Paul's coming back. We're going to get into, obviously, Davante Adams. We'll get into Carr getting the worst call ever. We'll get into Josh McDaniels potentially being on the hot seat now. And, we'll oh, boy. I got to work in the morning, right? That's okay.
I broke one of your cups.
Which one?
One of the Broncos ones.
How'd you break it?
I kind of dropped it, and it landed straight up with the ice in it, and I didn't realize. I thought it was fine until I poured the vodka in, and it started leaking out the bottom.
Oh, I don't care. These were cheap.
So, yeah.
They're like stadium cups.
So, my bad. Yeah. But that one might be a little spicy because all the ice was pretty much melted. I tried to pour as much soda water in as I could.
That is straight gasoline, sir. And I make my drinks stiff.
This one was like, I was like, ooh, whoops.
Ooh.
I don't want to pour any vodka out, though. That's stupid.
Ooh. Yeah, no, you definitely don't pour out any vodka, but man, this one is. Yeah. All right, Paul, let's get into this Chiefs-Raiders game from last night.
Chiefs-Raiders. Once again, Travis Kelce fucking shit up. I knew he was going to have a huge game, and I was just like, fuck, dude, I'm down. I mean, I'm up against Sean. Not to bring fantasy into it, but I was paying attention a little bit, and I'm like, all right, he's got Josh Jacobs and Travis Kelce. I'm up by like 24 points. I'm probably screwed, but maybe there's a chance one of them gets hurt. No, they both put up like 64 combined.
I was going to say they both went off. I was just happy to see that the Broncos weren't the only team this year that made Josh Jacobs look like the second coming of LaDainian Tomlinson.
The only thing, like for like Tyreek Hill leaving is just it's just made Travis Kelce more of an option.
Well, I had MSV. Or MVS, I should say. MVS and Juju last night. And my opponent.
Who's that, Valdez-Scantling?
Yeah, and my opponent had.
Yeah, he ripped it a little. Yeah.
And my opponent had Mahomes. And I'm sitting there going, all right, I'm like, I got a pretty good chance. If he throws the ball to these two and, Kelce doesn't go off for 4 touchdowns, I'm probably fine.
But he only had, 4 receptions for.
It does
70. I'm like, God damn. He had no yards, no receptions, but 4 touchdowns. I'm like, God damn.
I know,
dude.
Some guy last night went into his Monday night game going hey, I got a chance, but I'm gonna need 4 touchdowns out of Kelce.
Yeah.
And it's just ask and you shall receive.
No shit. Yeah.
And you could make the argument that getting rid of Tyreek Hill has made Patrick Mahomes a better quarterback because he's now throwing the ball to the open guy.
He's got to make his
reads. letting the coverage dictate where he goes with the ball rather than trying to force feed a home run ball to a guy.
Right.
Which, I'm not saying that the Chiefs are better off without Tyreek Hill, but I think you might see a little bit as the season, especially as the season goes on, and I think you've already seen it with Mahomes, a level of maturation that's come out of him where he's still he still does the Houdini shit in the pocket.
That's just who he is.
He's still Brett Favre-esque when he just escape, left-handed shovel pass, flip, whatever. That's what he's gonna do. And
I'm done thinking that's a fluke.
It's not a fluke, but it's just the fluky part is when it works because a lot of the times.
But is it though?
It's
happened so many times now. He does little left-handed underneath shovel pass thingy majig, and it's like.
Listen,
it's like a bullet for fucking 15 yards, straight through 3.
He's super fucking talented.
Fuck? His arm strength for a guy that. Have you ever watched him? Was it that? Was one morning I think on Good Morning Football or some bullshit like that where they had him pregame, very very pregame. I'm talking 10 o'clock in the morning or some shit, and he bombed it 70 yards. He just was I'm gonna see how far I can fucking throw it. And he just fucking launched the ball. It was a 70-yard bomb. Just absolutely just.
Oh, the kid's got an absolute fucking hammer
for
of an
dude,
arm. He's got an arm of the gods.
It's insane, dude. And his arm strength, short game, being able to move the ball
I'm here.
What the fuck is that?
Sorry.
Oh, I saw this. I'm here. Yeah. I forget what was that. Some little tussle after the.
So we'll get to it. Just keep talking.
But I'm just saying, the arm strength the kid has is literally it's
God tier.
There's nobody comparison except for maybe Justin Herbert or somebody young of that strength. But it's
Josh. I think Josh Allen's the only guy that can sit there and have comparative arm strength.
I think Lamar Jackson's got a massive arm.
Lamar
too.
does, even though he does. Yeah,
You don't see it often because of his style of play.
Well,
but when
you
Jackson
do.
launches that fucking thing, dude, right? But it might just not be in the best direction at the best time or whatever. But I'm just saying, Lamar Jackson. There's young guys who have massive talent as far as like arm strength and strictly arm strength. And I think that with Mahomes, people underestimate what he can do as far as his stature and his ability is physically. The kid gets the ball through people that in ways I've honestly never really seen. And I'm not trying to like sit here and get on my knees or nothing for the kid, like, but he's kind of like
get your knee pads out, bitch.
And for a long time, I was just like, all right, that's bullshit. Yep, okay, that was a cute little throw. That was cool. And he does it once, and then he does it again, and you're like, oh yeah, there's that bullshit. And then after a while, you're just sitting there going, damn, is that bullshit again?
But it'll work on a Monday night against the Raiders in Week 5. It'll work on a Sunday night in Week 12 against the Broncos. You know what it won't work? In the divisional round against the Buffalo Bills or in the AFC Championship against the Cincinnati Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, it just, or in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Bucks.
I was to say, but it did in the Super No,
that was against the Niners, and he didn't do anything crazy. He didn't really do anything crazy in that game, except that 3rd and 17 when he hit Tyreek Hill, and when you and I both looked at each other, we were like, God damn it, they're going to win this fucking game, aren't they? Yeah. Because Jimmy Garoppolo missed Emmanuel Sanders wide open, but we don't need to revisit that because I don't really want to be
I knew they were going to win that game
upset.
Anyway,
but let's talk about this Monday night game a little bit, because this was actually look, the Raiders, I think Carr was like 4-1 on Monday Night Football in his last 5 starts. The Raiders have historically played the Chiefs very well.
Yeah.
I think the only teams the Raiders have played well have been the AFC West, to be honest, over the last 6 years.
The Raiders came out swinging, dude. I was like,
they went up 17-0, and I'm like,
I'm talking to Hunton, and I'm just like, and he's like, oh shit, bro. He's like, Chiefs are fucking losing, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, I've seen this before, dude. I'm like, the Raiders right now, I'm texting him. I'm like, oh, shit, dude. The Raiders are pouring it on. I'm like, it's 14-0 right now. And then they get the field goal, and I'm like, wow, they got a pretty good lead. I'm like, yeah, but we've seen Mahomes, and we've seen this KC offense score.
If you had told me that it was going to be 17-0 at the half.
8 minutes in the second.
Or I think it was in the half, right? Didn't it go to the half?
No, I think they scored right before Kelsey got his first touchdown before the half, right?
So 17-7 at the half?
It was 17-7 at the half, I believe.
Yeah, that was the game.
Because I went to go take Lulu out to take a shit, and I came back in right before the half, and they had scored. And I was like, fuck, who was it? I didn't see. I didn't realize it was Kelsey, that I would have been pissed because I was playing Kelsey. So that was like, all right, whatever.
Oh, no, it was 20-10 at the half. That's what it was.
2010. I knew it was close. I know they had scored before the half, but I'm still sitting there, and there was like 8 minutes left in the second.
Right, because the Chiefs got a field goal. They got a field goal right at the buzzer.
Yeah.
And it was a big one because it was
big one. It was like a 50,
because I think it was right. It was because
yarder?
It was right after
58-yarder.
Because that was because the Raiders kicked a field goal with 17 seconds to go in the half to go up 20-7, and it was on the heels. That was the field goal that gave them the opportunity. That this play gave them the opportunity to kick that field goal because it should have been Chiefs ball.
Right.
17, with 20 seconds, something, however many seconds left, a minute left at that point. But this happened instead. And again, like we said, we thought the Tom Brady play was the worst play of all time. And until last night, it was the worst play of all time. And then this shit happened.
Are you talking about Las Vegas, a first down. Let's watch. Yeah, he said 97. Obviously, he meant 95, but that ball's out clearly. It's definitely out, and you can hear the crowd.
I mean, I just don't know what these officials are looking at and what they're thinking. Like, the man strip sacks the quarterback and takes the ball away from him, and you call roughing the passer? Like, he's not a punter. It's not like when he punts the ball away and you run into him and clean his clock. You're like, oh, okay, there's 15 yards. No, like, this man he's actively trying to move the ball down the field.
Yeah.
And he gets stopped by a defender, and the defender makes a great fucking play. Chris Jones made a hell of a play.
Yep, I saw that, and I was like, wow, you got to be kidding me, man.
It was a strip sack, and he recovered it, and he went to the ground and was like, thank you very much.
Yep.
And you're thinking, okay, great, Chiefs ball. Here we go. If you're a Chiefs fan, obviously not me, because I was like, fuck the Chiefs. But, you're sitting there going, okay, Chiefs ball. that's about as clean as it gets. And then you see the flag come out, and you're going. And when I saw that,
he was livid too.
I literally had just gotten up, like to go take a piss. So I got up from the TV. I saw the play happen. I'm like, oh yeah, that's out. That ball's out, clean, clear. I had no idea there was a flag on the field until I was upstairs and I hear the booing. And I'm taking a piss and I can hear the booing on my TV, and I'm like, what the fuck are they booing? Like, I don't get it. Like, what could have possibly happened that would lead to the entire stadium being this pissed off? Because I could hear it from upstairs. I'm in the bathroom upstairs. I can hear it on the TV downstairs. Right. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I get downstairs, and Oakland still got the ball, or Vegas still has the ball, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, like, why?
And they're like, and then they're showing the replay, and they're like, I don't know what they saw on this. Like, and I'm like, don't even fucking tell me. I go to Twitter, and immediately it's just, boom. Are you fucking kidding me? This is fucking bullshit. And I'm like, and then I saw the play and I lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, no shit.
I said, you know what? That's enough football for this week. I'm all set. I turned it off. I came upstairs. I raced. I didn't even watch. I didn't even care. I think I went back downstairs for like the last 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't sit here and watch this, because if I sit here and watch it, I'm going to get emotionally invested in it, and I'm trying to divorce myself from the NFL emotionally. Like, I'm just trying to have no emotion when it comes to football anymore.
Yeah, like me now.
Because it drives me up a fucking wall.
It's much better.
Because, I was talking to one of our friends today, the owner of Commonwealth Barbecue in Rentham. Shout out to them. I went there for lunch today because it's the best barbecue place arguably,
I have to go.
Arguably in the state. No disrespect to any of the other ones. I'm just saying this one's probably the best. And he asked me, so he kind of chuckles. He's like, "Hey, how's it going? How's your blood pressure? How's those those roughing the passer calls?" And I'm like, I'm at my wit's fucking end with this, because the problem is that you're taking the game that I grew up loving and I love, and you're taking away an integral part of it. And I'm fighting you tooth and nail on it, not because
there's nothing
I'm afraid of change or I don't want safety, because it's not going to be the same game that I grew up playing and watching. Right. And what I grew up playing and watching was the greatest rendition. That was that 2000, like 90. I'd say like 94, I think, is when it started, when you kind of like when the West Coast offense started to become a real thing and the passing game started to open up.
Yeah.
Like 94 through, I would say, like 2006.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2010.
Yeah.
Was probably peak NFL.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like 02 to 06 was the peak of the NFL.
Banging years.
That was
best
just
years, dude.
You could still play defense. You could still hit people. Yep. You
had a nasty pass. You had passing game, nasty running backs.
Right. You had absurd passing games, ridiculously talented running backs, receivers, tight ends were still like.
You witnessed 2,000-yard rushing seasons. You witnessed 1,800-yard passing seasons. You know what I'm saying? Like
receiving, yeah.
Receiving. I'm sorry. Yeah, receiving seasons. Like, it was such. Unfortunately, we witnessed it in that short window, because now we saw what it transitioned into,
and how quickly it transitioned.
How fast, dude.
I mean, what we saw last night with the Chiefs and the Raiders. I mean, as someone who hates both of those teams, with an immense amount of passion, and I'm not using my hatred of these teams to qualify my opinion here, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like, when somebody says like, well, I mean, I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan. I've been a diehard Indianapolis Colts fan, and I'm telling you right now, Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. It's like, okay, cool, you're allowed to have that opinion, but why did you have to preface it with, I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan?
Like, I'm not even a Patriots fan, and I think this. Like, how does that somehow validate?
So that
validates your opinion as fact and true, because you're not a fan of this team that's supposedly the best
right.
guy. That
So great. So you
here.
can't put your fandom aside to actually look at the game.
Right.
And make an objective determination about a certain
how you're wrong.
A certain player or how they are. Like, it's like, they go, well, I'm a Red Sox fan, and I'm telling you right now, Jeter's better than Nomar. It's like, okay, well, you didn't have to. You could have just said Jeter's better than Nomar.
Right.
But it's like you get these people that like, it's always the third guy that interjects into an argument of two people. Like two people will be having an argument, and some guy will step in and be
solid one, most likely.
And some guy will sit there and he'll listen. Like let's use the Brady Manning thing. It's like somebody will be sitting there and be like, no, Manning's better, Brady's better, and then some guy will step in and be like, whoa, bro, okay, I'm a Colts fan, just so you know, okay, I'm a Colts fan, die hard my whole life, okay, and I'm telling you right now, Brady's better than Manning. This man's right. And it's like,
somehow you know more about.
Oh, okay. So that somehow makes you. Oh, well, shit, dude. You're a Colts fan and you're saying that. Well, fuck. That changes my whole fucking life. I don't even know what to do now. I mean, what next? You telling me fucking? You telling me Tiger Woods is gonna come out and tell me that fucking Phil Mickelson's the greatest golfer? Like I'm a Mickelson. I'm a Tiger Woods fan. I'm telling you, lefty's better.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a scratch golfer, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a scratch golfer.
It's like,
and I'm going to tell you right now, Phil.
It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, but what I will say about last night's game is I had no horse in that race, and I was literally rooting for a meteor to hit the stadium or the game to end in a 0-0 tie.
I was rooting for the Chiefs.
If we had beat the Raiders last week like we should have, I probably would have been rooting for the Raiders last night.
I can't root for the Raiders.
I definitely would have been rooting for the Raiders last night.
I cannot root for the Raiders at all based on principle, the fact that we needed to beat them last year and we didn't, and they caused us to not go to the playoffs. So
yeah, that's a big.
The Raiders are kind of on my shit list for like quite a while now.
The Raiders are always on my shit list.
Well, they're a division team. I have no reason to hate like this. I like Devontae Adams. I think he's nasty. Renfro, like they got a good squad. Like,
I like their
players.
Hate
anybody like individually on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like, oh yeah, fuck that. What's that? The ginger kid there, fucking
Max
defense.
Crosby?
Max Crosby. I don't even hate him. I'm like, look at that kid. I'm like, he's a scraggly looking motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like scroungy, scrappy dude.
He had a bull rush last night that I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, he's kind of nasty. I'm like, all right, this dude's cool as shit. Like, I don't hate anybody specifically on the Raiders, but just as a team,
I think it was against his old college teammate too, the right tackle. He just shoved both of his hands right in his chest and just bull rushed him straight back. And I was like,
just out of principle.
And I'm like,
man.
I'm watching. I'm just like, how? And then I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah. He doesn't look that like he doesn't look like Micah Parsons. But he's probably every bit as strong, and
Yeah, he's probably a fucking horse, dude.
Max, I mean, obviously, Max has done it for a couple years now.
Right.
It's not like he's not a flash in the pan, fluky guy.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's there. He's showed up.
Yeah, he's like another Pat Kearney.
He's out there. We out here.
Yeah, he reminds me of a Patrick Kearney. A guy who like comes along every couple of years, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? And then he'll change teams in 2 years, and you really won't hear much, and he'll make like a big play here and there, and you're like, oh yeah, he's still in the league, huh?
Yeah, good for him.
Good player, cool guy.
Almost like Calais Campbell kind of thing, but you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
Calais was actually
he's still here.
He's still a beast. He was a beast for a long time.
Yep.
Well, God, I wish we'd gotten him in Denver. I mean, we wouldn't have done anything with him, so I'm glad he went to Baltimore. But for his sake, but nonetheless. But back to this game, I had no horse in this race. I wanted no one to win, and it was driving me nuts. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching this game, and I'm watching the Chiefs get fucked by these officials. And part of me was just sitting there going, they made this call to whitewash away the Brady call on Sunday. Because they needed another shitty call to be like,
oh, he's not the only one that gets the garbage calls.
This is just how we're calling it now. All right, like this is how we're doing it.
He's not the only one.
It's not. This isn't like a Brady preference thing. Okay, look, we're calling it across the border. I deal with it, and it's like bull fucking shit. You are. We all know you're not. Shut the fuck up. So that happened, and that ticked me off.
People don't think that the NFL is that connected to where they can't call and be like, yo, you got to make another terrible-ass fucking call in this game so that we can take shade off of this bad call for this guy because that's just how it is. You're fucking in denial because this is exactly what happens.
It definitely does, dude. I mean,
I'm
so – I used to – I used to be willingly naive.
Right.
To that kind of stuff,
Not
you're like,
anymore,
nah.
dude,
You're like, no. The NFL's they're on the up and up, dude. Come on, they're just it's a bad call. It happens. It just so happened it came on the heels of another bad call.
You get the wildest shit.
And now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it going,
let me hear it,
man. Fuck you. Like that is just way too coincidental. If it's too convenient and it benefits the NFL, immediately my radar goes up and I'm like, wait a minute.
If somehow you call in and you start making like some crazy ass connection between like Vladimir Putin in North Korea and the reason why, Tom Brady got a pick or some bullshit. The reason why Tom Brady got a roughing the passer call, and you come in with some crazy ass bullshit and connect all the dots, I'm probably gonna be like, you know what, you're probably fucking right, dude. I don't not
you're gonna
believe
get
anything these days.
You're gonna get the go on.
Yeah. Give me your wildest take and your craziest fucking conspiracy theory, and that's probably the one that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely fucking insane, but it happens all the time, and it's getting to be to the point where it's like, Uncle Nick used to tell us all the time, like, he used to laugh at us because he's like, oh man, he's like, you guys are so cute. You think the NFL's like honest and everything's like, oh yeah.
Man, yeah,
and he just used to laugh at us. He's like, it's all rigged, right? And we're like,
no, only college basketball is. And then we're like, fuck. Man.
And now I'm watching it as I get older, and I'm watching it with a more critical, like, cynical eye, and I'm like.
Right.
Who's benefiting from this? Because it ain't us.
A little more seasoned to the world.
Yeah, a little more cynical, a little more jaded, if you will. 774-992-8702. We're talking Chiefs Raiders right now. If you want to get your thoughts in, we got the video. Obviously, we'll play it again real quick. This is the Derek Carr getting sacked last night.
Let's watch.
It gets Jones takes the ball away from him. It's about as clean of a sack. I mean, I don't know what in God's name any official is expecting him to do here. He tries to keep his weight off of him, which he obviously doesn't entirely. It looks bad. I mean, Carr gets his shoulder driven into the ground. I guess we could, probably thank Anthony Barr and Aaron Rodgers for this one, because they're the ones that got this. Because again, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and all of a sudden all the fucking now you can't put your weight down on him.
But he ends up with the ball is the craziest shit
and
however he treated him during that play, he ends up with the ball.
But the officials saying, they're like, well, he came down, he put his weight down on him, and that's the rule, and
What's
can't
he supposed
do that.
to fucking do, levitate?
And I'm like, well, and that's the problem. And that's where I think a lot of people last night got, really started getting pissed off. I mean, Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, you've got the announcers calling it out. You had everybody on ESPN. I mean, Stephen A., just name a talking head, name a personality.
Right.
Everybody was sitting there going,
except for Max Calvin,
okay,
he's a bitch.
This is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, what are we supposed to do here? What is this? Like, this is, I don't even know what you want me to do. And it just, it gets to the point where you're like, you're making defenders play by a set of rules that is impossible to adhere to 100% of the time. So you're already setting them up to fail. And it waters down the game. And as somebody like me who's always been a defensive guy, I've always loved defense. It's always been my favorite side of the ball. I always appreciated offense, but I love defense. Steve Atwater's my all-time favorite player.
Yep.
Champ Bailey's probably number 2. Bill Romanowski and Ray Lewis are probably, 3 and 3A.
Bob Sanders.
Ed Reed. I mean, I was a big fan of safeties and DBs, whatever. Fuck you. But my point is that I was always a defensive guy. And to see these defenses just get, handcuffed, and it's like, okay, go out there and play with one hand tied behind your back.
Yeah. Because
we need to make sure that these DraftKings lineups are popping.
Right.
Because that's all that this fucking instant gratification, ADD, iPad fucking generation that's coming up cares about. They don't give a shit about the subtle nuances of a fucking zone blitz and why it was effective against this certain player or this or that. They only give a shit if their fucking quarterback threw to the right guy and their DraftKings lineup is earning them points.
Right.
That's it. And this is the problem. We left the door open for bugmen. Okay? Those, you see them all the time. Just go to Mirasol's. It's infested with bugmen all day, every day. They sit there on their MacBooks with their, their scarves and their.
Yeah, it's 90 degrees out with a scarf and glasses.
And they're sitting there going,
all black, long sleeve shirt.
The DVOA of this game was very interesting. And if you look at the advanced analytics, blah, 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 and this and that. And the problem is that we let people who have never played football participate in football because they wanted to feel like they were participating. So they come up with all these advanced metrics that don't fucking apply. Like, you want that shit, go take that shit to baseball, bro. And then Billy Bean will just tell you, well, you're a fucking idiot. And it's like, well, or vice versa. I don't know. Maybe it was the other way around. I have no idea. Maybe Billy Bean was the sabermetrics guy, right? He was the first one there. Like, institute all the advanced metrics. But shit worked in baseball. It doesn't work in football. I mean,
I saw some crazy
the metrics
stat, dude.
The metrics last night fucked the Raiders.
Right.
Because Josh McDaniels decided to side with the metrics, and the metrics say go for 2. Percentages say go for 2. And what do? They go for 2, they get snuffed, and they lose. Oops. Could have had a tie game.
Should have went to overtime.
At worst, they should have been overtime.
Your offense wasn't having really much of its problem moving the ball in the first half. I don't know what you couldn't revert back to make it work again in the second half.
Nope, but my point is that we've let these bugmen infiltrate our games in our sports, and we've got these soy boy beta males now that are hanging out in football circles, and they just want to feel welcomed and more than anything important. And that's why
because they can read a graph, but they haven't watched football for the last 20 years.
Exactly. I mean, it just
doesn't mean that you can just fucking jump in the ring and think you box,
right?
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Like
it takes a keen eye to watch this. There's a reason why I can be looking at the fucking refrigerator and I can see a hold on my TV out of the corner of my eye,
or I can know if the I can know if the penalty's on offense or defense, just judging by the sound of the crowd or some shit like that.
Or where the flag was thrown before I even hear the crowd. You see the play, you see the flag, and you go, all right, that can through.
That's illegal motion. Fuck.
Yeah,
that's illegal man downfield. Anybody can pick out a holding call. Anybody can pick out a false start.
Through deductive reasoning, I'm going to assume that this is either this or this.
Right.
Because I've deduced that.
Yes, I have checked X, Y, and Z and only left this left.
But the bottom line is that that call on Carr, that roughing the passer, has to have been one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The Chiefs fans, in all their infinite class and wisdom, decided to throw bottles and beers down on the field at the Raiders as they ran off the field at the end of the second half. Yeah. And everybody's like, really, Kansas City fans? And I'm like, dude, it's Oakland and Kansas City. Like, these are 2 of the trashiest fan bases you're ever going to find in sports.
In the West,
No,
side.
just in sports in general, dude.
Well, I mean, you start chucking Philly and Baltimore and shit in there, dude.
They're Philly and Baltimore.
That's East.
Philly and Baltimore are up there, but so's Kansas City and Oakland. I mean,
west side of the Kansas City, west side of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
I don't know my geography too well, but west side of the Mississippi.
I assume so. But they're
whatever.
They're in the middle there.
Yeah, out west. They're in the fucking AFC West.
They're in the Midwest. Okay, so, but they're just. It's one of those things. Like it irks me because you're taking the game that I love and you're changing it and you're making these calls, and I'm hoping the outrage over these 2 calls back to back, and the people that have spoken up will get the competition committee to address something.
Doubt it.
I do too. I don't think anything.
Doubt it.
I don't think anything's going to change.
When they're hard charging in there, it's just like a liberal Democratic agenda, dude. They don't give a fuck how many people it affects in a negative way. They don't give a shit how many.
They just want to sit there and say, "We're right, you're wrong."
And
deal with it.
look what we did.
Yep.
We did this. We accomplished this. They're going to make it sound like some fucking praise. Like, look what we did for the better of the sport. No, you're actually fucking it, but cool, that's what you think because you're in charge.
Right.
Awesome.
You're actually not preventing anybody from getting hurt.
Thanks
you're
for
not
listening to the body.
You're not making the game any safer at all. But hey,
pat yourself on the back.
Pat yourself on the
fucking loser.
Right, and that's really what it comes down to. The game's not any safer. You can't legislate out the violence. You never will.
Like you said, dude.
And it is what it is. Like, guys are gonna get hurt, and sometimes it's unfortunate, and it sucks, but it's part of the game.
Right. I would love to see them change it to flag football, and see I don't know, Joe Mixon out there in the flats, full speed, and I don't know, whatever defender fucking try and grab a flag and trip him up, and he slips and slams his fucking head and gets a concussion just the same way as if it was the way it was.
Right, but it wouldn't even matter because they would still be able to say look at how many less concussions we have.
But you still, you'd still get them though. I mean,
no, you wouldn't. Not in flag football because you're not putting helmets on. Like we talked about last week, dude. When those guys put those shoulder pads and helmets on. When we talk about the rugby guys,
it's like
when you put those pads and that helmet on. There is an air of invincibility that enters your conscious.
I know,
and it is fucking awesome.
I remember from Pop One, it's been a long time, but I remember putting them on and being like, "Oh my god, I can hit anybody! This is awesome!"
Right. So
if you've ever done it, you know the feeling, regardless of what level you played.
So my whole point of this whole thing was I hope something gets changed, And Troy Aikman agrees with me, and Troy Aikman agreed with me, and he made a little bit of an analogy, or a little bit of a statement here, and got Troy Aikman in a bit of hot water with
Hall of Famer,
with the Hall of Famers, and a little bit of trouble with
the most overrated Hall of Famer
leftist Twitter. Oh, not even close to the most overrated. No, that'd be Terry Bradshaw, sir.
Well, he's very, very, very overrated. Troy Aikman.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
No. No, Troy's not overrated at all.
Troy
is without Troy Aikman, they do not win 3 Super Bowls. I can promise you that.
I don't know. He's never led the league in passing.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
He's never been like a top. He's just been like a cog in the wheel. Though.
Do you have any idea, as the quarterback, the number 1 overall pick, the amount of ego checking you need to do in order to just fall in and be just a cog in the wheel? Like that in itself, right there, willing to just not go out and lead the league in passing,
but just play so mediocre,
and let Steve Young and Warren Moon and Randall Cunningham and John Elway and all these other guys blast through stats and do all this other shit. And granted, the stats were significantly less back then too, so you got to remember that. Like a 3,500-yard passing season was like, whoa.
I know that was massive. I know.
Yeah,
but like Troy Aikman's never led in like touchdowns. He's never led in passing.
No,
he's never led in yards.
He doesn't have gaudy numbers.
He's
but
he's never even been like an All-Pro.
He's been an All-Pro.
No, he's never been to like a first team. Like he's never. I don't think he really ever made any of these like crazy ass accolades like that. Like most people who, when they get to the Hall of Fame, you look and like run down the list and you're like, okay, check. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I always thought Troy Aikman was like crazy overrated, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, I don't think he's crazy overrated at all. Let me see if I can find his accolades here. Because now you got me thinking. I'm like,
yeah, I don't know. I always thought he was kind of like.
Let's see, Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro.
But was he though?
He was never first team All-Pro.
That's what I'm saying. He's never first team All-Pro.
But he has.
He never led the league in passing. He never led the league in yards. He never led the league in. Touchdowns. He never did any of that.
His career high was 23 touchdowns in '92. I mean,
which in '92 that was probably high.
It was decent, but he also only had, he had 14 interceptions too, so it wasn't like he was like lighting the world on fire.
Right.
And then when they won again the next year, he only had 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, dude.
6 interceptions.
I think he's pretty fucking overrated, dude.
No, I don't, because I don't think you realize. I don't think you understand what it takes for a guy like that to just take a he knew I'm just gonna hand the ball off to Emmett. I'm gonna throw it out to Michael Irvin and oh God, what was the second wide receiver they had there that was actually fucking nasty?
Yeah, get back into the wrong tree with old school Dallas. I mean, I remember them back in the day, obviously just kicking ass. Remember that dude? I forget what his name was. I wish I could figure out. He was a lineman, dude. He was back. This was, I think, in '95.
Alvin Harper.
Was the wide receiver?
Alvin Harper. Yeah, he was the number 2. He was Michael Irvin's number 2. Yeah. He was actually really fucking good. And people forget, but it was also, that was not a pass first. That was a run first offense. They had Emmitt Smith, Larry Allen. You had fucking oh God, what was his name there? Fucking John Madden's favorite, Nate Newton, his favorite offensive lineman of all time.
Newton.
You're like, Nate Newton, he'll go to the local diner on all you can eat night, and he'll sit there for 4 hours and eat 72 pounds of shrimp. And you're like, what? And John Madden's like, he's my hero.
Yeah.
Why?
Cool.
But they had and Moose Johnson. I mean, that team was stacked.
Right.
That was a run first, play good defense.
But that's a stacked team. Again,
it was a stacked team, but I don't know that they're.
Does Aikman really stand out?
Let me just say hypothetically, right? And I'm trying to think. Let's see if you put. I don't know if you put.
Was he ever MVP?
No.
Never got MVP.
Not even on his own team.
That's what I'm saying. He's. I don't know, dude.
I'm just saying if you put Brett Favre on the Cowboys in the '90s.
Yeah.
I don't think they win 3 Super Bowls.
No,
because Aikman took care of the ball when he needed to. Aikman was
right,
tough.
He might have had a couple of.
Aikman did things for the Cowboys that don't show up on the stat sheet. Like I'm telling you, go back. I challenge you, go back and watch the '89 to '95 Cowboys. That 6-7 year run that they had with Aikman, Irvin, and Emmett, and the way they built that team. I'll tell you right now, dude. I think you'd be hard pressed to get even off record Michael Irvin or Emmitt Smith to say that they win 3 out of 4 Super Bowls without Troy Aikman. I don't think they did, because I think Troy was able to set his ego aside and say, I'm cool not being the guy, even though I'm the quarterback. I'm cool letting Emmett and the defense take take it and be the big stars or whatever and ride that, because I don't know that there was many guys that would have or could have done that in that situation, especially as being the number one pick like Aikman was.
But like I said, like looking at the praise and like the level of like what people think Troy Aikman is, you would have expected him to have a lot more than 3 Super Bowls, like we've said, dude. A lot more goes into Super Bowl wins than just the quarterback. You know what I mean? And I don't know, based on
of course it does.
Based on how the game was played back then and how it is now and differences and things like that and rules and like whatever the fuck you want to call it. I just, from what I've seen Aikman accomplish, just he doesn't like shout like.
But I don't think anybody. But here's.
I just think he's overrated. I think he's overrated.
But why would you? What gives on what criteria? Like, who's overrating him? Would be my question. Like, who do you hear that's like, oh, he's the best of all time?
I'm just looking at it. Like I said, I'm just looking at like how he's never really had any like solid accolades as a single player and quarterback.
I guess my question is like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody put Troy Aikman in their top 10 all time. Anybody. Ever. Not once.
Right.
So.
Right.
Who's overrating him?
What do you mean? I'm just saying. I think he's overrated.
Are you saying he's overrated because he's in the Hall of Fame?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
just simple Hall of Fame, like just from a Hall of Fame standpoint.
But you don't think he had a Hall of Fame career? He won 3 Super Bowls.
Shit.
I mean, he won 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. I mean,
Jimmy Garoppolo's
the
got
Cowboys,
2, doesn't he?
No, he has none.
Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't on the bench.
Oh, well, he was on the bench.
That's
in
what
14.
I'm saying. He's got rings too, but fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
but I mean,
I'm talking as a starting quarterback, as far as like accolades and like specific like individual statistics.
Like, I think if you wanted to say like Bradshaw was overrated, I would be more inclined to say yes and agree with you. Aikman, though, Aikman's not a guy I think, because I don't think anybody puts Aikman even in their top 15 or 20. I think Aikman's just that guy. Like, yeah, he was on the Cowboys, but nobody's putting him in the. Is he in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame because of what he did in that 6-year period. Because, like I said, without Aikman, I don't think the Cowboys dynasty is a thing in the 90s. Like, I don't think that happens. I really don't. I mean, insert any, like, who are you going to put on that team? Realistically, that was available. I mean, Randall Cunningham, maybe. You're going to go get Warren Moon. Maybe one of those 2 guys. Maybe those are probably the only 2 guys that like moved around during that time period. But Moon was still in Houston, so that really wouldn't have worked because he wasn't going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to think of like off the top of my head guys that might have been available that the Cowboys
could have
moved,
interchanged into. I know,
but why would you? He had such a good rapport with Alvin Harper and Moose Johnson and Jay Novacek and Michael Irvin. And he knew the offense so well, and he just fit that role.
Like I said, he was just a cog in the wheel. But it's like the way that people give Aikman praise, like he's like this like godsend of fucking quarterback.
No, I don't think I've never heard anybody really regard him as that. No,
he's fucking Troy Aikman. Just listen to the football world,
right? But I mean, he's Troy Aikman. He's an accomplished quarterback,
right?
But he's not.
I think people praise him.
I don't think anybody's putting him up there with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady or Drew Brees or any of those guys. Aaron Rodgers.
What's Joe Bucket suck his dick in a heartbeat?
I mean, I'm pretty sure most
with
Cowboys.
the Hall of Famer here.
I'm pretty sure, a lot of Cowboys fans, no one's putting Romo above him. But even though Romo was better, but Romo played in a different era and he didn't win 3 Super Bowls. Right. I mean, that's the thing. Like, say what you want about Troy Aikman.
It's
but
just like holding Brady up high for 7.
Statistically, Aikman was not great. I mean, 165 and 141 and touchdowns or interceptions. Like, yeah, barely 33,000 passing yards. I think he's
one of the most overrated in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, if you want to say, is he a fringe Hall of Famer? Yeah, I mean,
I think he's really only there because of who he played for and the time that he played for.
Well, he played for Dallas in the 90s,
and
that was it, dude.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, there's a reason why when you look at like who dominates the Hall of Fame, it's always like the Giants, the Packers, the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Eagles. You're like all these East Coast teams, and then you're like, why isn't Carl Mecklenburg in there?
Well, the Niners
or why isn't
shit up for a while?
Why? Like there's plenty of guys. Rich Tombstone, Rich Tombstone Johnson from the Broncos, or Tom Jackson. Like those guys took time to get in. Like it was like almost like a question like, is Champ Bailey going to be a first ballot guy? And you're like, is Champ Bailey going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame? If Champ Bailey if he played for Pittsburgh or the Redskins his whole career, they would have been like, yo, can we just do away with the 5-year waiting period and just put him in now?
Put him in now.
Put him in now. Like, is it really necessary?
I already got the head fucking chiseled out in
yeah,
bronze.
because that's how ridiculous it is. The East Coast bias when it comes to the Hall of Fame and their writers is insane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's those OG teams. You know what I mean? It's almost like the original 6 for hockey.
It's not the OG team. It's the OG NFL teams. It's the Bears.
That's what I mean.
I think it's the Bears, the Packers,
Browns.
the Bears, the Packers, the Browns, the Steelers, the Giants.
The Jets.
No, not even so much the Jets.
Say the Jets. Namath.
I mean, it just no. It just doesn't. No.
Can't throw the Oilers. I mean, I'm just thinking of like old school. And I mean, obviously, like you said, like Packers, Giants, like there's those old school East Coast teams that just have that nostalgia over everybody. You know what I mean? And for some reason, they get a little bit more heavily favored in terms of votes and things when it comes to like good players that arise in their franchise.
The Chicago Bears have the most
Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers, and Green Bay has the second most.
Right, that makes sense.
Does it though? Like,
yes, because of the exact point you just brought out. That East Coast OG team favoritism.
So you've got the Bears, the Packers, the Giants, the Steelers.
I would say the Vikings.
The Redskins, the Browns, the Lions, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Niners. That's your top 10 for Hall of Fame inductees.
Really? Vikings aren't up there?
No. Who in the Vikings? Like,
I'm just thinking like John Randall, like Randy Moss, like Cunningham.
Well, Randy Moss, Cunningham, C-squared. That's it, though.
AP's not eligible yet, but that's later on.
He'll be in eventually.
Him out. But I'm saying like old school. I thought the Vikings. Yeah, I don't know. I figured they would be up there.
No, you had the Vikings in the '90s. They were really good, but they weren't like holy shit.
Prolific, like
But it just back to our point here. What we were talking about with let's get back to this Chiefs Raiders game. So Aikman is in a bit of hot water.
Yes. From where we went 20 minutes ago.
Jesus Christ, we got off on a fucking
tangent.
tangent.
Sorry, dude, I just had some shit to say, bro.
Hey, listen, it's fine. I'm not mad at you. I ain't mad at you. So this is what Aikman had to say, and you tell me where the offensive.
I haven't heard this. I want to hear this.
Play again. The ball comes out right there, and the ball is possessed by Jones. He's going to the ground with Carr. His body's there. It's just where it is.
It's too much. I mean, my hope is the competition committee looks at this in the next set of meetings, and we take the dresses off.
That's what he got in trouble for?
Yeah. He said, I hope the competition committee looks at this and we take the dresses off. And, of course, leftist white women all over Twitter went up in arms. And, of course, all the beta male white knights came out. And they were like,
I'm going to get laid tonight.
Yes, I'm an ally. Please suck my penis. Yeah. I will Venmo you $72 to your OnlyFans account if you say you give me a shout out. But yeah, no, it was wild, dude. Like, I went on Twitter and like I saw this and I saw the game. I saw that clip. I saw that part of the game because I shut it off right after that. I heard him say that. I literally thought nothing of it when he said it. Didn't even faze me.
Didn't even notice.
The new 2023 GMC Sierra AT4X.
I don't even know where that's
play again.
Great outdoors.
I don't even know where that's coming from.
Or the great indoors.
Oh, right there.
Jesus Christ with the pop-up ads.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Holy shit, dude. Pro Football Reference, you're fucking disappointing me.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But
we do not own the rights.
Yeah, I do not own the rights to that advertisement. But if you want to go buy a GMC, apparently, go ahead, go nuts.
They got a cool song to their ad, I guess.
Like Jesus Christ, be cheesier.
Yeah,
it's like you know the worst jingle of all time was the Home Depot jingle from like 5 or 6 years ago. It was like, I'm gonna play it.
Home Depot jingle.
Yeah, it was awful.
I don't remember the Home Depot jingle. I remember there was like a couple remember what Santana song was
this one.
A Cadillac.
I think it's this one. This song just pisses me off.
Why? This is a Home Depot commercial?
Yeah, that was the Home Depot theme song. Remember? And then it goes like this. And it gets like all like lame at the end.
It just sounds absolutely terrible anyway. We're building stuff, guys.
Yeah,
buy
we're gonna
cheap shit.
build stuff, buy shit, and fucking get shit. And
Yeah.
that
Build your deck.
For whatever reason, like that theme
Paint your
song
room.
pisses me off more than anything. Because like I just remember back like that ad used to play on EEI all the time.
Yeah.
When I was listening to EEI a lot because when EEI was still good, and they would play Home Depot ads, and that jingle would come on, and I'm like, you know what? Honestly, that jingle made me 100% committed to being a Lowe's guy.
Oh, Lowe's is way better anyway.
I agree, but that jingle made me be like, because back then I would still go like whatever I needed. If it was like $3 cheaper at Home Depot, or they had it there. Sometimes Home Depot had shit that Lowe's didn't.
Yeah.
Now it's just like if Lowe's doesn't have it, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Especially after like 2017, I think I tried to make like a little bit more point to shop at Home Depot just because I felt bad for Arthur Blank. But was this what?
Yeah, 28 to 3.
I felt a little bit bad.
You don't want to trigger Rob. Come on, don't bring it up. Why are you gonna bring it up?
I'm sorry, but
Rob can't escape it, dude.
I know. Well, I'm just saying. I felt a little bad, so I'm like, all right, Home Depot's all right, but Lowe's has always been better. Lowe's has always been better.
It has. It is. It always has. I mean, you were either Team Jimmy Johnson or Tony Stewart, and I mean, Tony Stewart only
Stewart killed the guy.
Couple championships and killed a guy. Jimmy Johnson 7. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Troy Aikman said that he said, "Let's take the dresses off," and the leftist.
And he's in hot water.
White women.
Fuck out of here.
Of course, it's always like, why? Like, you know, everybody always is like, oh, you're a white male, you're a racist, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm racist against the most white people.
Yeah.
Fucking hate white people.
Yeah,
dude.
white apologists.
Like, yeah, like that was.
I can't stand the white apologist.
I can't either. It was like another reason. Like I refused to give the Red Sox any more of my money because I think it was like there was their last homestand of the year, and they had Ibrahim X Kendi throw out the first pitch. You know who he is?
No.
He's basically like the new age like Jesse Jackson, like Al Sharpton. He's just a race huckster. Like he's just
he's like a Jussie Smollett defender. Like
yeah, he writes books about racism and basically lectures white people on why they should apologize for being white.
Oh, okay.
But then he markets them to gullible white people who just want to be like, oh man, like I read this book, man. Like, oh man, this is
so enlightening.
I'm just like, please here, BLM, take my money.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
even though like, and it just like, and he markets his books to like dumb white people,
right?
And they're like, oh yes, please tell me how to be less of a racist and more of an ally. How can I wash myself of the sins of whiteness? And you're like. But he makes millions of dollars off of these books.
Hand claps, bro. Whatever.
I challenge anybody. I swear to God, go like YouTube the fucking clip of him being like, "Hey, define racism," and he's just like, "So racism is a racist philosophy that comes from racists who have been instilled by racist philosophies over time by racist systems that were also racist.
So that's why they're racist,
and thus they are racist." And you're like. Okay, Kamala. Cool. Nice world salad.
Yeah.
Like, are you going to incorporate some Venn diagrams in there? Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I really love Venn diagrams. You're like,
with
bitch,
the cackle.
What the fuck are you talking about? Like, anyway, little side note there. But let's continue on this path of the Chiefs and Raiders because there was one call. We'll wrap it up with this. There was one play here at the end of the game that was a little bit controversial.
Yep, I gotta see this again.
Paul and I somewhat disagreed on this one.
I saw it like at least 5 or 6 times.
In the moment, Paul thought it was a catch. I knew it was an incompletion the second I saw the angle.
I knew it they were gonna call, but I thought it was wrong.
So Paul argues that this was a catch. This is the Devontae Adams catch.
I thought it was a catch.
On that catch, right?
I gotta get closer.
Is the issue? Is it down when he has control of the football? I don't believe so. I believe he gets control with 2 hands with the
you
right
watch
foot
right here,
down,
ready? Goes up with 2 hands, boom, bobble, no control. Right there, gains control, and that foot is off the ground.
for the Raiders from their own 46. It was ruled a 16-yard completion. On that catch. Right, the left toe is the issue. Is it down when he has control of the football? I don't believe so.
Yeah, the little hand switch is all it took.
He gets control with two hands with the right foot down.
Doesn't matter.
The left foot is out of bounds. I see it as an
right there. He has possession.
Play was a 3rd and 1.
Yes.
For the Raiders from their
so,
46.
So Paul and I watched this. Paul and I were.
My TV was $800.
We were vehemently disagreeing on this last night.
I swear to God, when he made that switch, when he grabbed it and he took his right hand off of it, and he had the ball, I didn't see any bobble action or any kind of movement.
It moves ever so slightly,
but it does.
But the problem is
his fingers.
When it moves ever so slightly, his left foot is already off the ground.
Off. I know.
And it carries him out of bounds. And that was where, as soon as I saw it from that angle, I saw it one take. I'm like, oh, that's incomplete.
I knew they were going to call it incomplete, and that small because the window of both his feet on the ground is
minuscule.
Like literally, it was there and it wasn't. So I'm looking at the ball. And I looked at the ball, and I'm like, it doesn't really, float or, he doesn't juggle it and grab again to make sure it's stabilized. So I'm thinking he's got one hand on it with 2 feet at that point. That was a catch, but I don't know.
As soon as I saw that angle, from the end zone, as soon as I saw it, I knew it was an incompletion. I don't know. Now, granted, how the calls had gone in that game, I wasn't sure they were going to call it properly.
I knew it was coming back,
and it just
they wanted Oakland to lose.
I mean, if you ask any Raiders fan, the NFL always wants the Raiders to lose.
I saw some BS calls before that, and I can't remember because I was kind of drunk last night watching. I'm like, it's kind of like there was one back in the second or third quarter. I can't remember what it was. Either way, I just remember sitting there going, I don't know, man. It seemed like Devontae Adams had at least enough, if that's even a thing, possession with one hand. And at the time, I was thinking, I'm like, can you have 2 feet in one hand on the one hand after you?
Of course you can. If you have possession with one hand,
but after you've had 2 on it, I'm like, I
but
don't
as
know
long as it's not moving.
Go,
but
dude.
the problem was it was still just ever so slightly being bobbled in his hands.
It was literally that one little transition when he left and put
and his
it back.
left foot comes off the ground as that's happening, and that's it. That's an incomplete pass.
That was it.
Now, should that be a completion? Probably.
Ball didn't hit the ground.
Probably. I mean, it was a pretty fucking good catch and run and throw.
But that's the game.
I know, and
that's the chess game
and
we
you
live
know,
in now.
When they were when everybody was clamoring and saying we need instant replay, we need instant replay, we need instant replay,
it's a double-edged sword.
It is, but nobody realized that, and nobody.
But I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm not. I just say get rid of it.
Nah, because as many times as you get proven right, and you're saying thank God we have a replay, you get fucked. So
okay, but what is replay really there to do?
To get the exact call on the field because the game is built that way.
So why even have officials?
What do you mean?
Why would we even have officials if we're just gonna we could just run everything off a replay, right?
Yeah, we could.
We could, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so why does replay exist? To do what? To hold officials accountable, right?
I guess.
Okay. Are we holding officials accountable since we've had replay now for the last 30 years?
Hold them accountable for what, though?
Exactly.
You're going to punish the official?
Yes.
How?
Absolutely.
Dock him money for getting a bad call? He's just trying to fucking make the game exist.
Don't let him back onto the field.
He's just trying to make the game exist.
No. The whole point of bringing in replay was to hold officials, was to make the right call and hold the officials accountable for their calls. Now, I'm not saying officials aren't allowed to get the call wrong on the field and then go and correct it, but how many times do we see them get the call on the field wrong, go to the booth, and still uphold it?
Yes.
And then what happens to that official? Does he get fined? Does he get suspended? Does he lose his ability to coach in the postseason? No. No, they don't. We never hear about it if they do. Every so often, every once in a great while, you'll hear oh well, this because this guy made so many bad calls, he didn't grade high enough to ref the Super Bowl.
Right.
Or the guys that are reffing the Super Bowl, they've gotten the highest percentage of calls right on the field
right.
this year.
It's
and
an
you're
incentive, yeah.
And you're like, cool. That doesn't mean that they're going to get them right this game. Like they're still now.
But
So you use replay to hold them accountable, but then we don't hold them accountable. There's no accountability there because there's no repercussions for them making the
But what are you going to say? Oh,
call.
this ref was wrong. Give the other team 3 points?
No, you say this ref was wrong. Replace him with a different ref who can get it right.
On the fly.
Not on the fly, but the next game. But you have these guys that go out. You think Jerome Boger, or you think he's not reffing next weekend?
So you think that there shouldn't be any kind of like leeway for the refs to get things wrong?
I'm not saying no leeway for the refs to get things wrong. I'm talking about accountability. If a player fucks up on the field and grabs a face mask, or gets a pinky hooked in a face mask, and a ref throws a flag, yeah, by the letter of the law, that's a face mask, and that guy could be ejected if it happens to be his second personal foul, which his first personal foul could have been, pelvic thrusting in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that.
Those two things have zero impact on the game itself, but because a ref threw a flag and now is being over officious, that guy gets ejected. And what happens to that ref? Even though what he did was technically right, it's not right, and it ruins the game, and it damages the product on the field.
What kind of sanctions do you want for these refs after that then?
I want them to be taken off the field. I want them to not be allowed to officiate. If you fuck up, if I fuck up at work.
But how many officiators are there going to be? You're going to be getting guys cycled in from like fucking high school, and it's going to be even worse.
It's the NFL. Pay your fucking officials. Fine them.
They do get paid. They get paid like $250,000.
Yeah, make them full time. They're part time still.
Oh,
make them full time. I mean, this is all going back 15 years now. Again, this conversation we've been having forever. Jerome Boger's going to be back on the field reffing on Sunday.
Right.
Or Thursday or Monday, whatever game he has. God forbid it's Monday and the Broncos play. Fuck me. But like, he's going to be back on the field on Sunday, even though he made that egregiously terrible call against Grady Jarrett and the Bucs. And it's a bad look for the league because you're going, bro, like you just threw this flag.
But is that
and
not
Tom
what
Brady was the primary beneficiary of this, and it just doesn't look good. And yet we're going to trot you back out there now the next week to fucking, I don't know. Let's see. What game would Jerome Boger be reffing next week that would really fucking suck for anybody? I don't know. Philly-Dallas on Sunday night. And now Jerome Boger's reffing that game. And, I don't know, Micah Parsons sacked Jalen Hurts. And they're like, you know what, though? We kind of want to roll with Philly. And this Cooper Rush thing is cute, but we need him to start losing games because we need Dak back under center because Dak's going to bring in more eyes.
Right.
Dak's the bigger draw.
And I'm not opposed to thinking that that's actually a thing.
Me neither. I'm just saying there's no accountability. When you have no accountability and no checks to the balances, they can do whatever they want. And they've been doing whatever they want. And that's why a replay was brought in for that reason, was to hold the referees accountable. Get the call right, but also hold them accountable. We're getting the calls right, but we're not holding the refs accountable for getting it wrong.
Instant replay isn't meant to be replayed for the ref who got it wrong to interpret it wrong again.
But again,
you know what I
like
mean?
we said back when we first instituted this, when we said this whole thing, it's just going to be used as a crutch. It's just going to bog the game down. Which is why I'm just like, you know what, get rid of it. Make like 3 things reviewable, like catches, which still we can't even get that right. Dez got fucked. We have replay. Dez definitely caught the ball, and we still, even with replay, couldn't get that one fucking right. So what are we really doing here? Like, what are we really doing?
Right. No, that's true. Because it's more aggravating to see the call and see the replay and still watch them fuck it up by some bullshit that like what are you fucking talking about? You know what I mean? It's like it just thrashes the integrity that much more to what the NFL has been trying to do and trying to get the game right and trying to make it as, concrete black and white winner loser as it could possibly be. And honestly,
it just gets to a point where you're like, dude, hurry up. Like, I don't want to spend, I don't need 15 more commercials shoved down my throat.
That's why.
While Jerome Boger goes over there and figures out, oh, geez Louise.
Hey, how many commercials we got left? 3.
How many?
Hey, we already know what the call is. But I'll
guys,
just sit here for
should I have thrown that flag or not? And they're like, no, it's fine. The money was on Tampa to cover, so this is good.
Hurry up.
Let the call stand. And they're like, okay, cool. I don't get it. And then whatever. I don't know. It baffles me. It boggles my mind that this is what people wanted. They wanted this. They asked for this. And yet we've got certain things that are reviewable and certain things aren't. Like either the whole game should be reviewable or none of it should be reviewable. I'm sorry. Like there really isn't to me, there isn't really room to like just sit there and say, like, oh, just catches. And I know I said like, okay, just make like 3 things reviewable, but 3 things ultimately turned into 5 things, ultimately turned into 10 things. And I'm going to immediately take back what I just said 6 seconds ago because it was wrong. It should be the other way around. Nothing, either it's all reviewable or it's not, none of it's reviewable.
Right.
Like that. And again, the NFL needs to cut the shit with the fucking stupid ass fucking rules. They need to let football players be football players. They need to let them fucking play football first and foremost. Okay? Like, remember we had the Rams and the Saints pass interference? Fuck out of my way. I'm going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't get the pass interference that wasn't called. And then for 1 year, we were allowed to review pass interference. And then they scrapped it after 1 year. And they were like, yeah, no, that sucks. We're not doing that again.
Yep.
Because like I think like less than like 5% of those calls got overturned.
Yeah, and that was just bullshit. That whole call.
If they called PI and they reviewed it, I think like it was like less than like 1% or less of the time it got overturned.
Yeah.
And the ref was like, you know what?
This is stupid.
You're right. I was wrong. No, it never fucking happened. Like there's objective calls and there's not objective calls. It's the same thing with balls and strikes in MLB. You either welcome the human element and the error that comes with it, or you don't. But either way, you can't just like dip your dick in a little bit. Like you either got to fuck that whole thing or not. Like it just go be about it or don't. But anyway, back to the Chiefs and the Raiders, and we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah.
We got 2 more videos for you. This one was apparently this was live. This was audio that was caught of Patrick Mahomes talking shit to Max Crosby last night.
Nice.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
So there you have it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm here. I'm here.
I can't with his Kermit the Frog ass.
I know.
I love that. Whoever did that video, thank you very much. I love you for that. And then the final video we got for you here tonight, and we'll wrap it up with this one. Well, Davante Adams. So my favorite part of the game last night was it was the most Raiders ending of all time. Not because they blew a 17-0 lead or they had a 20-10 halftime lead, or they went for 2 and they fucked it up.
I almost called you and I said, "This is the most Raiders thing I have ever seen in my life."
It was Davante Adams, their prized off-season possession, and Hunter Renfrow, their homegrown talent, the guy that they love, the number 1 slot receiver in the league. And they just run into each other and trip over each other on the final play
collide
of the game.
2 little kids.
And this happened like I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago. It happened with the Raiders against the Chargers. I think they did the same thing.
Really?
Where the Raiders receivers just like ran into each other and like knocked each other down. And everybody's just like the 2 defenders are standing there like, what the
what
fuck?
do we do? This wasn't us.
Yeah.
This wasn't
yeah,
us. Don't
like,
throw no
please
flags.
don't throw no motherfucking flag because this ain't us. And they run into each other. And Davante Adams, clearly frustrated, he took it out on an innocent cameraman coming out the field.
Adams, no flag, frustration from Adams, and whoa. Can't have that as Adams leads on this.
Oh, yeah, we'll play it again because
that's great.
No flag, frustration from Adams, and
he's just like, fuck out of my way, boy.
Can't have that as Adams leaves the field, the frustrations.
Obviously, this was from the post-game clip that was
bubbling over.
And he's like,
that's not
I saw it. It was like the guy from last night, and it was him in like a neck brace.
Oh yeah, he's showing up in like a full body cast to work this morning. Well, apparently he's already he's pressing charges. He went to the ER, filed a police. Sorry, not pressing charges. He filed a police report.
Yep.
Good chance Davante is going to get suspended.
And he's going to pay up a couple bucks.
And he's going to have to pay a couple of bucks in a fine.
And a couple of bucks. Life-changing money.
I mean, quite frankly, he should be suspended. And honestly,
what the fuck, dude?
I think he should be suspended multiple games. And I'm not just saying that because he's a Raider or because of this, but
that's assault, brother.
Bro, like, think about it this way. if somebody had done that to an NFL player, or if somebody had done that to him, if the tables had been turned,
right,
what would the repercussions have been then?
Oh, boy.
All hell would have broke loose. You would have had the whole NFL coming out. There's no place in the game for this.
Right.
These fucking fans or these people
We
are
get
out of
roughed
fucking
up enough
line.
as it is.
You know, we don't need you fucking throwing shit, talking shit to us, blah, 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 blah. Oh, my God. It would have been the end of the fucking world. This dude he's trying to cut across the tunnel because he's got a camera and he's trying to do his job. And Devontae Adams is just like, fuck you.
That was bad.
And I'm like, I get it, dude. Like, you're mad, but like,
have some restraint, man.
bro, you're a professional. I mean, I get it. Your team's 1-4, and this is probably going to be the last time you guys are relevant.
KJ Hamler at the end of Thursday night.
Yeah,
Like KJ Hamler had the right to push anybody he wanted at the end of that game.
He was pretty open.
Yeah, I know. I saw that, and I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm like, he was wide. I'm like, how did this happen? I was like, what the fuck?
When I went back and watched
my
the highlights.
voice was like that.
When I went back and watched the highlights of the Broncos-Colts game, listen, I know Nathaniel Hackett's getting a lot of shit right now. It's not Hackett, okay? If I was going to place the blame on somebody right now, it's squarely on Russ. And I feel like that is just all going to come together in due time. So I'm not worried about it.
We were like that kid that was on his back with the bully's arms, like knees on his arms, getting his ass beat, and we happened to get one arm loose and poke him in the fucking eye.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That was all
it took. Fuck! And he rolled off, and that was the end of it. Yeah, we won! You know what I mean? Like, it was,
Matty Ice got his ass whooped.
Oh, my God.
I mean, props to him, though. Those last couple of drives that they put together, I mean, Matty, they moved the ball in the Broncos defense pretty well. They showed some fucking
some
toughness.
Catches, yeah.
And Matty Ice especially.
With no JT, which, honestly, what has he done this season anyway? You know?
Well, JT
our O-line fucking blows, dude.
I know. Ours does, too.
Our O-line blows.
The Broncos O-line is
supposed to have one of the best
pretty
in the
terrible. We lost Pookie for the year. We
Yep.
lost Tim Patrick, which is really hurting.
Yep.
Judy and Sutton, it's going to take a minute for them to get on the same page. And then losing Bowles.
On the side,
No, our left tackle for the year, that fucking kills because our offensive line was already banged up.
Yep.
But you just got to stay the course and
roll with the punches, dog.
Just roll with it.
It's early.
Everybody gets hurt.
It's
so
early.
You know what?
It's
Yeah, if you're going to
early.
get hurt and lose key guys, better to have September and then better to have it happen in September and then have October and November to figure it out, and hopefully by December you're in a position where you can
To
still.
the Giants, it's early.
Yes.
To anybody, it's early.
The only team I will say, don't worry, it's early, but you're still fucked is the Raiders. Haha, fuck you, 1-4. Suck my ass.
They could rip off 6 straight and still be
Josh McDaniels is going to get fired before Thanksgiving, I think.
awesome.
Which would just be fucking hilarious.
Awesome.
But let's leave it there, Paul. We'll get back to it. We got next week off because I will be on vacation.
Yeah.
So we will see y'all back here in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right here on Row 1, Seat 1, the one, the only New Bedford guide. Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Betancourt obviously couldn't be here tonight. He had to work. He had work obligations.
Shit to do.
His real job. So I'm sure he wanted to talk a whole hell of a lot about Bailey Zappi.
Yeah.
And don't worry, be Zappi.
Yeah,
And it's 29 to nothing drubbing of the.
What, really decent Lions
No,
or
they're
scoring.
not. They're not decent. They're the
know.
worst defense in the NFL,
I know.
statistically and everything else. They're the worst in the NFL, and I feel bad. I was rooting for the Lions. I really wanted them to do well
scored
this
the
year.
most points.
It's just such a shame. Such a shame. Jared Goff just looked lost out there against that Patriots defense, and we'll get to that. But nonetheless. So anyway. For Mr. Betancourt and Plizzy, I am Joey Fats. We will be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be back with, I'm sure, what will be an absolutely electric show because we're going to have a whole shitload to talk about by then.
Plenty.
And, we'll get back at you. So we'll have a week off next week, and make sure you guys give us a like and a share. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us. Peace.
Peace.